This is a CBS2 News Update. I'm Chris Wragge, and here's what's happening in the news. Developing in Singapore, we are just hours away from the historic summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The two are set to meet face-to-face Tuesday at 9 a.m. in Singapore. That's 9 p.m. tonight, our time. The goal of the Trump administration to completely disarm North Korea of its nuclear weapons. Earlier this morning, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reiterated their mission.
The ultimate objective we seek from diplomacy with North Korea has not changed. The complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korea Peninsula is the only outcome that the United States will accept. Sanctions will remain until North Korea completely and verifiably eliminates its weapons of mass destruction programs.
Some Democrats have criticized the president for keeping them in the dark about his preparations for the summit. Some warn that others may have made deals with North Korea only for North Korea to break them. Now, happening today, the ribbon cutting at 3 World Trade Center. After years of delays and legal setbacks, the 80-story tower will be open for business. It's the third completed skyscraper at the Lower Manhattan complex at 1,079 feet tall. World Trade Center 3 is the 5th tallest building in New York City. We're also streaming that ceremony in case you want to check it out. The NYPD investigating a shooting in Jamaica, Queens, where the victim was found dead behind the wheel of a car. Victims say that the victim was shot outside a club and tried to drive himself to the hospital, but he apparently lost consciousness and crashed into 3 cars at Liberty Ave and Liverpool Street. So far, no arrests have been made, and the victim's name has not yet been released. Arraignment today for 15-year-old Cindy Sanchez of Uniondale, Long Island. Police say she was the one behind the wheel of an SUV stolen that crashed Friday morning on the Meadowbrook State Parkway in Freeport. 3 teens were killed. Sanchez and 6 other passengers, including her own toddler, suffered minor injuries. Sanchez is charged with manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. A Long Island man is accused of stealing more than $4.5 million from his own mother. He'll be back in court today. Samuel Bernstein, pictured here, was arraigned on grand larceny and aggravated harassment charges last week. Investigators say the Roslyn man accessed an account that his mother used to fund a charity for wheelchair tennis players. He's suspected of using that money to fund a lavish lifestyle that included private jets, Super Bowl tickets, and a $100,000 bottle of champagne. Police say he also threatened to destroy his mother's home. Net neutrality protections officially end today. The Obama-era order had required Internet providers to treat everyone online equally. That meant no speeding up, slowing down, or blocking specific websites or online services. The Trump administration scrapped it back in December. The Federal Communications Commission says the repeal removes problematic regulations. The FCC chairman spoke about it on CBS this morning.
It's going to be a tremendously positive thing for consumers. When I talk to consumers, and I've been to everywhere from Los Angeles to the Rosebud Sioux Reservation in South Dakota to Dahlonega, Georgia a few weeks ago, their #1 concern about the internet is that they want better, faster, cheaper internet access, more competition. These rules were standing in the way of companies, big and small, making the decision to spend money building these networks. And building these networks is hard. It's expensive. The heavier the regulatory burden, the less likely they are to do it.
Well, opponents say getting rid of net neutrality gives Internet providers too much control over how online content is delivered and relies on consumers to police these large companies. Well, a garbage truck driver is due in Brooklyn court today after a wild ride through the streets of Bensonhurst. 40-year-old Anthony Castaldo is now free on $5,000 bail after his arrest Saturday. At least 9 cars were totaled before Castaldo's truck crashed into a front porch on 60th Street. Charges include DWI, reckless endangerment, and leaving the scene of an accident. His employer, Viking Sanitation, says Castaldo has been suspended. Well, moments of panic for a mother in Brooklyn when her baby stops breathing during a family dinner. While frantically looking for help, the mother ran into 3 police officers who were in the right place at the right time. CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez reports.
Bright-eyed 15-month-old Chloe Ivanov is at home in the arms of her loving family, thanks to these 3 NYPD officers.
All of us, right place, right time.
On Saturday night, the Ivanovs were celebrating Chloe's grandmother's birthday at Kaifum Restaurant and Lounge in Coney Island. Chloe's mother, Caroline Ivanov, tells us by phone, all of a sudden the baby started having a seizure.
She spiked a fever. She stopped breathing. She was turning blue. I ran out to call 911 out of the restaurant.
Right outside, stopped at a traffic light on Ocean Parkway and Brighton Beach Avenue, were police officers Michael Pace and Joseph Doyle. The panicked mother ran to their squad car.
She started banging on the window saying that her baby wasn't breathing, so we jumped out of the car.
Baby was a bluish tint. She wasn't breathing.
Officer Pace radioed for an ambulance, but it was nearly 8 minutes away. Thankfully, police officer Daniel Newman, who's also a certified EMT, was nearby, heard the call for an unresponsive baby, and rushed to the scene. With no time to waste, Newman took baby Chloe into the squad car and started performing CPR as Officer Pace drove to Coney Island Hospital, just a few blocks away.
I was about to do mouth-to-mouth when the baby coughed up in my face, started to cry a little bit. Color came back to the face, and all I could do was just smile.
Thank God we were in the city and they were right there. It was, because I don't think 911 would have honestly responded fast enough.
That valuable time was likely the difference between life and death. Doctors told the Ivanovs Chloe has a virus which may have sparked the seizure, but remarkably, she was well enough to go home.
Honestly, if it wasn't for them, I don't know if I'd be holding my daughter right now.
Ivanov says doctors are looking to see if Chloe has an underlying condition since this was her second seizure. The first one was a reaction to a vaccine. The officers here who helped save her life say they plan to keep in touch with the family. In Coney Island, Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News.
Well, Officer Daniel Newman says this was the first time that he ever performed infant CPR. He is 1 for 1. Okay, let's talk a little weather right now. John giving us this information. Today it started off a little cloudy, but if you look outside, that sun's emerging out there today. 72 the high. Tomorrow could be the pick of the week, so says John Elliott. A June gem with a high of about 75. Gets a little hotter on Wednesday at 81. The humidity ramps up just a little bit. And then Thursday and Friday, you got a couple of chances for showers in there, but we're back in business with nice weather headed into the weekend. Friday, 80 degrees, a great end to your work week. And then the weekend looks pretty good right now. That, of course, is all subject to change, but let's keep our fingers crossed. That is your CBS2 News Update. I'm Chris Wragge. Thanks so much for joining us.